What's poppin'? What's good? I wanted to go live tonight just to talk about a few things. Possibly give a few readings if anybody's available, if anybody wants one. But I think I wanted to talk. I can't make up my mind on whether it was toxic masculinity that I wanted to talk about or just plain, people, black men in particular, that just feel like they have to grow up and have this, wear this mask like they're the toughest person in the room and whatnot. And really, it's really like a thing that's like everywhere, you know what I'm saying? It's like people they feel like they gotta be tough and they feel like they gotta do this or they gotta do that or be the alpha male of every pack or everybody in the room. Or, you know what you get what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to get my words together, Still trying to get used to this live thing. But it's a reason why I want to talk about this, and it's because I had this thing where growing up as a child, you watching rappers, you watch basically all of the main male role models were these like superheroes of their story. They always, everybody that told their story, they always told their story from a place of a high horse. Like they're sitting on this high horse and or they're on a mountaintop. No one ever talks about how they started from the bottom. They may have, but it's very short. It's very brief. Nobody really gets into that. And when they do talk about it, it's all, I sold dope, or I did this, that, and the third. And I sold dope. I shot so-and-so. I've been shot. Like, it's always a horror story or a trauma story of the streets. It's never nothing real, about how like somebody just had a hard time being a man. Like, as far as providing, as far as feeding your family, as far as what's up, frequency, as far as just like learning what it means to be a man without having a father. These kinds of conversations. Some rappers or artists might talk about how they had to go to the streets, but other than that, it's just like, that's it. We only talk about the streets. And so what happens is we get caught up in that, thinking that we gotta be street, we gotta be hood, we gotta peace, we gotta hold this persona, hold this frequency of I'm the baddest in the room, when you don't have to do that. That's how a lot of people get caught up in BS, bullshit. I'm gonna cuss. I don't know why. I be trying to act formal on the camera, but what's going on, Leah? Happy to have y'all join me. I'm just want to talk about my experiences growing up, because I used to think that I had to be that way. I had to be a certain way, but that's not how I was at heart. It might have been in my DNA, but I didn't know nothing about it, especially when I had a mother who did know, but kept it away from me because she didn't want me to get into that type of lifestyle, because I could have very easily got into that lifestyle, instead of just doing me, staying to myself and working on my craft, or working on my music, working on this science this metaphysics that we're all learning. God would have been in the streets chasing women all the time and whatnot. It's just like, of course I was in that. I'm not saying I wasn't, and I'm not bragging about it. My whole point to get on here is to talk about how it ain't shit there. I literally put myself in those shoes on purpose. Not like I'm some rich kid wanting to be in the streets. No, that wasn't what it was. It was just like I was looking for something, and I knew what I was looking for. It was a fire in me that I was looking for, but I didn't know that that's what I was looking for. I just knew that it was something that I was looking for, and it had something to do with that. So if I said that I did, if I contradicted myself, my bad. I felt like I did, but anyway, no buts. Anyway. Take the butt back. but cancels out things. So we saying anyway. Anywho, I guess because what I want to talk about is like what inspired that song, and what inspired the song is like I got to talking to my father about my family, and I always had this thing where every time I went to go see my dad, no matter how little a time it was, so maybe like every other weekend, it's like I got a part of me back. I got a piece of me back. We might not have spent no time at all, but for some reason I felt like I got a piece of my DNA back. What was really happening is that I was tapping it back into my wild side. I was tapping into the wolf. And this funny thing, what happened is when I would come back home, my mom would sense it. Like, I damn near try to beat my stepbrother up over nothing, or probably over something, but that's a whole nother story. That's a deeper conversation that I realized what was going on with me when I was younger, and why I was so, I want to say, why I was the way I was towards fam. But we're just gonna stick to this. So basically what I was saying was I would tap into my wild side, right? And then I would come back home, and then my mom be like, oh no, I see what type of time you want. We canceling that. I gotta reprogram you. Literally, she would say those words. I have to reprogram you because you're not about to come back and be on some other shit. Because I will be on that type of time. And it was like, so what my mom would do is she sheltered me for a while until she couldn't do it no more. And what happened is I thought, you know how we be thinking we be missing out on shit? I was missing out on shit, and it got to the point where I was sneaking out and shit. But anyway, I did listen because I listened to my mom. I was a good kid. So I would stay. I just was never in the mix. I never got to do anything. I never joined anything. But it was partially my fault too. It wasn't just all my mom. It was just like I didn't have a drive to want to do anything because it was just like the assumption that it was limited. My time was limited. Curfew was ridiculous. To me, it was that type of a thing. So I felt like I missed out on a lot. And over time, what happened is I blamed my mother for it. Wasn't her fault. She was being the best mother that she could, and I thank her for it. You know, even though I still feel like a little part of me felt like I wish I would. But we neither here nor there, so ain't no wish. That's the whole point of this whole journey, is to do the work so you don't stay stuck on, oh, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I'd have done that. It's a lot of people that get into the spiritual work and the spiritual system who failed at life and got into this because this was all that was left. And I hate to come off harsh when I say that, because I might trigger some people when I say that, but it's the truth. It's the truth. It's a lot of people, and then when they don't, it's some people that could get into this work and thinking they're gonna find something that they're looking for, and really they didn't get the grasp of what the work really is when it comes to the spiritual work. They thinking it's just learning the science and finding out that you got powers and the history and all of this shit. It's not just that. It's doing the self-work. It's all about self-work, shadow work. You know, that's the dark side of this spiritual work. And that's why a lot of people are talking about it, yes. But, you know, it's just... I have my own perception of things. Let's say that. So going back, the reason why I brought that up, I'm just going to go back to that story. My childhood, growing up, thinking I had to be a certain way. My grandfather, there was a reason why. See, I'm gonna put it like this. My family kept certain information away from me, even though I knew about how my dad was a little bit, but not completely, until like maybe I was about like 25, 20, 27, 28, 27. Somewhere around there. Anyway, they kept certain amount of information about my grandfather away from me because they were all, but except for this one thing. Oh, you look so much like him. You look just like him. You da this, da. I hear that all the time, and people would see me and be like, because he passed away. So to see me grow up and then look just like him, it's just like, whoa, it's crazy. But it's just like, if you tell me that and then tell me the truth about who my grandfather was a gangster, straight up, straight through. And so was a lot of the handful of people in my family. My father. My father, but he was more of a musician than he was, a gangster. So, hustler, I'll say that. I'm a hustler musician. But anyway, it's like they didn't want me to know all of that, because if I was to know all of that at an early age, I'd be trying to embody that. I'd be wilding out. So they kind of wanted to just keep me. And I know how people say, yeah, it's in you. And of course, it's always been in me. It's always going to be in me. It's never went away. So don't ever get that shit twisted. It's just, when you don't know yourself. And how about this? I'm going to start off with this, not explanation, but little history, whatever, a story. When I was little, I used to always get into fights. And it'd be funny to hear that, for certain people to hear that, because it's just like, what, Raven? Getting in fights? This dude was peaceful. He didn't say much. He was always to himself, people. But there's a reason for that. It was a reason for that. I naturally acted wild. It was a hyper thing about me. And I'm so glad I'm talking about this. Oh, I'm so glad I'm talking about this, because this is so important for a lot of people to hear, especially black parents, when it comes to our children. And we think that we need to put our children on certain medications, when the truth is that they learn differently. We learn differently. We are busybodies. We are hands-on. You got to give us something to do. That's why I was more in the art class and writing than I was in any other class, even though I still couldn't spell worth a damn. I could write a story for days, because I broad imagination. I had stories all in my head all the time. But the medication, it will literally, they do this to calm children down. But how I feel what it does is, even though it makes you focus and it helps you do your work better, you can sit down and listen to the teacher, it makes you docile. And that's how I felt. That shit made me docile. And it kind of fucked with my confidence. Not kind of, I think it did. I think it played a big part in it. But every time I talk to my folks about it, they like, nah, no, it didn't. You just on some... You just need to grow out of that, or you needed to take it regularly. The reason why you weren't taking it regularly, or the reason why that was happening, is because you wasn't taking it regularly, so it wasn't in your system on a regular basis. I didn't want to take that shit. That shit was horrible to me. That shit was horrible. Yeah, I could focus, I could do my work, but I didn't feel like myself. I didn't feel free. And that's the thing about a Sagittarius. I'm a Sagittarius. I have a wolf spirit. I don't feel free. I feel confined. I feel caged. What's the word I'm looking for? Something must be going on today, because there ain't too many people online. I felt just dumbed down. Like, I couldn't express myself how I wanted to. And I don't think that this needs to be talked about, because what happens is I think it has some leftover effects on me, because I used to be this vibrant, I am. I'm saying I was this vibrant person who was always hyper, always talkative, and always playful. But it's like when I got on that medicine and other experiences that added on to what made me feel like playing small. That's what it was. It made me want to play small. That's what it was. But I feel like it leaves effects. It leaves negative effects. It makes you like you gotta play small or whatever. I don't know. It's just weird. I was a weird kid anyway though too. But then it would just be like I would walk down the hallway. I didn't feel like myself. So then I'm already thinking a lot. I'm already empathic. I'm a strong empath, especially when I was young. I could feel. It's like I could feel people looking at me. So I'm kind of walking down the hallway and I'm like. And somebody literally came up to me one time. I was like, "Why are you always looking around? And why moving like Stevie? Why are you always looking around? Like you?" It said it like it was a joke, but I thought it was funny because at the time I didn't even know. It was so much going on in here. It be so much going on in here. I think I was Rod Hayes. I was talking one time about how, the kid that has ADHD. It's not that they can't pay attention to the teacher or listen. It's just the fact that they're so busy breaking down the universe or breaking down math problems or breaking down other things that's on a broader scale than what they're teaching. And I'm saying they're in our heads that it's like, I want to say that the shit that they was trying to teach us just simply bored the fuck out of us. It was boring as hell. Let's be real. I'm in class. I'm not interested in this shit. This shit bores me. This shit bores me. What is this? Is there a funner way to learn this? Sitting in this class, all of these white walls, and it's just, I ain't like it. I ain't like it at all. So, it was that. That's what messed with my confidence because I wasn't being myself, and I didn't feel like I could express myself. So I played it small a lot. So, moving on from that, I grew up in high school, and then I just kind of got accustomed to playing it small. When really, I'm bigger than that. And the thing is, other people could see it before I could. And my uncle always told me, you got to know before anybody else do. Because when somebody else know your value before you know your value, they're going to play on that. You know what I'm saying? Look at this king acting like he don't know who he is. Look at this king acting like a peasant. I'm not a peasant. I'm nowhere near a peasant. I am royalty. I got royal blood. I am hiking up my prices because when my prices were so low because I didn't see the value in my gifts. I didn't see the value in the craft that I'm putting up on my website. But I see it now. And I value it more to the point where if you value this shit and you know how powerful it is, because you're going to know, because you're going to feel it. I've demonstrated countless of times on the light language videos, the light language rap videos, the music, the sessions, that reading that I gave one time. Like it's too many demonstrations. The people that I've activated their light language. Like, come on. I can't keep playing it small. That's why I'm on here now, talking to y'all about what I've learned and what I've been through. Because I'm no longer the student no more. I'm the teacher. That's why Ali was talking like the other day. I was like, you're going to be teaching. Yeah, sign me up. I'm there. Because it's time. It's time. So, let's not get into that. Let's get into back to another part, which was when I was younger. I remember I said I was getting to this point where I said that I used to fight a lot, and I did because I was raised to never let nobody fuck with me like that. So I got into a lot of fights because I was in a school. I was young. It was homeschool, Holmes Elementary. It was in Lenny, Michigan. That's where I'm at. Anyway, I got into a lot of fights in that school. It was hood. I'm in a hood territory, so it was a lot of switching up that was going on. We children, so I guess we don't know no better. So my friend is gonna be my enemy the next day. That's literally how it was. But I was like, it was so minor that it was like whatever. Couldn't wait to go back to school the next day because my mom used to buy me fresh gear. So I'd be excited about that. But then, I was always prepared for a fight. I was always ready, and they made me ready. And then what happened is I went from one school to another school, which was more white. It was more it wasn't like them hood schools that I went to. And I think my mom told me, actually, she knew it was this is how everything that I'm saying is valid, because my mom knew how hood it was and how crazy that was. So she already planned ahead of time. She wasn't about to have me in that environment. She was about to put me in a private school. Then she got remarried, and then now we in Ann Arbor. I got a stepbrother and a stepsister, and a couple of other siblings. That's all step. Because my dad got remarried too. But anyway, it's my story. Where was I at? Fights. So when I started going to this new school, we stick to what we learned from the last school and we take it with us. So I'm going to this new school and I'm trying to fit in, but it's kind of hard because even the energy was different. Like, even at a young age, I could feel how the energy was different. Like, it felt foreign. I was like I was in a foreign school, because of course I was. Anyway, so I made some friends, and at the time it was just like, of course I made some white friends, but I also wanted to make some black friends too, because I was just used to having black friends. I want to be with my people. This is how I am. So, and I've always been. So I was hanging with them, and then it's like some of the activities that we were doing, I took them too far. Like, we be doing some wild shit, we be play fighting or whatever, and somebody would do something that I didn't like, and if I didn't like that, I'm about to beat your ass. That's just how it was. And I would literally prepare my mental state for that. Like, oh, I'm about to fight. I'm about to beat this person's ass. And then until I got into a fight one time, and then, mind you, this is when I was a child. I got into a fight with one of my friends, and he was like, bro, he didn't try to fight me. He pushed me off of him because he knew I was about to scrap. I was trying to fight, and he was like, bro, get off me. You don't have to fight over everything. And when he said that, for some reason, I don't know why it affected me that much, but it was like a reality check. Like, bro, you don't have to fight over every damn thing. This is not Ypsilanti homeschool where everybody is a possible enemy. Except for a few. Almost everybody was a possible enemy. What's loyalty at the age of 7? That's loyalty at the age of 10. You know what I'm saying? So growing up, anyway, I don't know why I felt funny talking about that, but or mentioning that, don't matter. What's going on, Savon? I think that's how you pronounce your name. If I butchered it, I'm sorry. I'm working on that. Anyway, I was just on here telling a story. And I was talking about my experiences when I was younger, and I was really talking about toxic male masculinity. Basically pertaining black people or black men. Because, a lot of us grow up and feel like that we have to play this tough guy role, and we really don't have to. We can just be who we are. And if you be who you are and you just handle your own, you don't have to worry about all that extra shit. So, but, when we have the media constantly throwing this facade in our face all the time. Like, for an example, these rappers, how they love to talk about how real they are, but and all rappers, gangsters, players, hustlers, all of them, they love to talk about how real they are, how tough they are. But if you think about it, psychologically speaking, when it comes down to it, when they walk back up in their house, they still got to show respect to mama and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I'm using the example that I got from Brother Panic, and but I'm just gonna put that away until I know how to really utter it or really speak it, you know, to get my point across. But where I had left off is that I was talking about when I was a child and how I used to always get into fights. And then I was transitioning into schools, transitioning from one school to another, because in the last school, it was just like everybody's an enemy. Your friend is a possible enemy. So going to the next school, it was different. Atmosphere was different. Friends was different. I'm thinking I gotta fight everybody just like in the last school. And what ultimately ended up happening is I got a reality check. It wasn't like I got my ass beat or anything. He just like pushed me off. He wasn't trying to fight. He was like, dog, you don't have to fight over every damn thing. It's not that serious. So it wasn't that changed me. It was the fact that every single one of my friends stopped talking to me, like, completely. And it's because, and the reason why that happened the way that it happened is because there was other people that I got into altercations with where I felt like I was being played, or I felt like they was just on some other shit. So I felt like I had to fight or defend myself because, one, I didn't have the vernacular. Even growing up, I can still admit that I did not have the vernacular to speak up for myself other than to use my fist. So when it got to the point where I couldn't do that anymore because people were starting to think I was crazy. People started to felt like they couldn't be my friend because I was loose, like I had some loose screws. So that affected me because I saw how everybody just kind of stayed away from me. You know, I had some friends that they talked to me seldomly, but they didn't, and it just wasn't the same. And I felt it. And it happened twice. It happened twice. And, you know, when that happens to you at a young age, especially when you've lost a twin brother, because I lost a twin brother at a very young age. So I always was looking for a companion, male or female. I was always looking for a companion. And when I lose my friends like that, and then I don't have nobody to go to other than, you know, my family. But of course, you know, when you're young and you're going to school, it doesn't mean that much. It doesn't mean the same, I should say. It's like, it's not the same. Like, we want to be I think you get what I'm trying to say. I ain't even finna dwell on that. So, it made me dumb down my aggressiveness, my wildness, because I probably was just taking what people were saying too seriously too also. And we can do that, especially if you're impacted. We feel things on a very deep level. Pisces, they feel things on a very deep level. And I'm a Pisces moon. I'm not a Pisces moon. We feel things on an extremely deep level. So when you say things, and we might play it off like, oh, that ain't really hurt us. We ain't feel that. But the truth is, that shit stuck and it stung a little. And it's kind of on our minds later on. We playing that shit back like, damn, so-and-so said this, so-and-so said that. So it was like, and, you know, not knowing or just internalizing the fact that someone's always going to have something to say. So, but, I just let it get to my head. I let it get in my body. I let it get into my whole auric field to the point where I started dumbing myself down a lot. And I was playing small a lot. So, and didn't feel like I could defend myself because I didn't have this speech for it. other than fighting all the time. But then I had to question, oh shit, is this necessary to fight over, or maybe it's not? And then being taught that not everything is, if they put their hands on you, then okay. But if they're talking, you, like, I want to explain this because this is for real. You raised, right? Or you being taught by the parents or your OGs, whoever you look to for guidance. Tell you, treat people with respect, be kind, treat people how you want to be treated, right? But, growing up, most black children, they'll say, we don't fight unless somebody put their hands on you. We don't fight over everything. We're not bullies. We don't beat people up. But if somebody puts their hands on you, beat their ass. You beat their fucking ass. That whole sentence, beat their fucking ass. They say that in capital letters if we was typing. So, I internalized that. But then it's like over time, it's like you kind of get it confused. We weren't taught balance, and so I guess some kids needed to be taught these things more than others because my balance was off. And I guess with Sagittarius, we either do too much or do too little. Not I guess, I know. We either do too much or we do too little. That's why we have a problem with indulgence and addictions. So, what was I getting at? What was I at? Ooh, clowning around. I was talking about, okay, we have that. So balance. Balance was off. I'm wanting to be more on the light side than the dark side. This is a perfect shirt for this. So, this is how I was taught. Be like Jesus. What they tell you when they talk about the Bible? Be like Jesus. And what is Jesus? This saint who does no wrong, don't harm nobody, and then just healing people and doing all these miracles and just loving light. That's where they fooled you at. But like I said, we're not gonna get in there. This is by me. So, I'm trying to remember. I will get sidetracked easily. You get taught to be a certain way, right? But so have respect for other people. What am I trying to say? Knowing when it's time to switch into the dog. That's what it was. I didn't know when it was time. Like I got it confused, and then it was just like a handful. It was just a stack of things. Okay, so in the past, people thinking I'm crazy because I fight too much, so maybe I needed to withdraw. People was looking at me. Not looking at me. I'm forgetting it. Being so empathic, feeling everything. Oh, that's right, the medicine, ADHD. Taking that ADHD medicine, making me want to play it small. What's going on, Touch? Nice to see you. Haven't heard from you in a while. Playing it small. So that might be also, I'm having epiphanies while I'm talking about this. That might be also why I had this thing with attention. What's the word that I'm looking for? Attention. You're always looking for attention. Like I just always felt like I needed somebody's gratification. And Touch, I remember you was posting on a couple of things that actually triggered me and made me think like, damn, do I carry myself that way? And I had to reflect and really, you said, sit in seeking. I don't know what that means. But it was something that you posted that's go along the lines of what I'm talking about that made me reflect and be like, okay, I do have a thing where I do seek attention, but it's because like I'm looking for gratification. I'm looking for someone to say, oh yeah, you did a good job, or oh yeah, I seen that was dope. Or so it was like I had to work on that and really, really work on that. And now what I'm talking about is seeing where I was getting it from, because I used to do this thing where My God, I'm just losing my train of I hate this. This is why I gotta get on here more often so I don't keep doing this. Losing my train of thought. Validation. Yes. Validation. Looking for self-validation. Lacking self-validation. And looking for validation from others. Yeah. That was a thing. I felt like people should support, or people should get on board with what we got going on, but that's not what that people don't have to show you love. People don't have to get behind you. People don't have to do any of these things. They don't have to buy your music. They don't have to listen to your songs. They don't have to do nothing, because it's all free will. So I had to get used to that and just get used to just being in my purpose. But the reason why I brought that up is because I was talking about where I was getting that from. And that was the fact that I played it small so much when I was younger, and the reasons why I was playing it small. So, don't get lost, Ray. Don't get lost. Do this shit like I did, Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, I'll just go on a brief explanation of what I got on here to talk about, and I was getting on here to talk about why a lot of young black men feel like they gotta be tough, or gotta be the biggest person in the room, play the alpha, when you don't have to be that. You don't have to play that role. You don't have to be like all of these rappers talking about how they're the toughest man in the streets, or how they sold the most dope, they killed this many people, they made this much money, and they made it out and stepped on this amount of people. Like that you don't have to talk. You don't have to be that. And when I was growing up, and sometimes a little bit could still be in me. No. A lot it was in me. A lot of it was in me, and I had to get it out. And what stemmed from it was just social media, looking at people, watching your role models, or who you would think, or who they tell you are your role models, portraying themselves as these tough street soldiers. And a lot of them aren't even solid like that. A lot of them aren't even like that. A lot of them aren't gangsters. They're terrorists. And if they're not terrorists, then they just playing a role so they can be accepted. And that was another thing. I felt like I wanted it to be accepted. I wanted to feel accepted, because I always felt like I was just outside. My mind is so outside of the box. So, and then there were certain situations where I got put outside the box because I wasn't being myself. I was playing it small. That's why I'm on this live, to stop playing it small. I feel like I'm rambling, but whatever. Somebody gonna watch this live and get something out of it. Man. So I'm gonna just go ahead and start talking about the song, because I might be going in circles at this point. That song was inspired because I was talking to my father, and I was talking about my bloodline. Because I don't know if you two were in here when I was speaking earlier about how my family kept the information about my grandfather and my certain handful of ancestors on my father's side from me, because I would try to embody what they were on, and they were straight up gangsters. And I got sheltered away from that. But now, growing up, I started talking to my father more about it. And what happened was, like I said, when I was younger, when I would go to my dad's house, parents split up, and you go see the dad every other weekend. That was my situation. So every other weekend, I'll go see my dad, and I would come back with this. It's like I got some of the fire back. I got some of the wolf back in me. Just being around my dad. We didn't even have to kick it. Just being around him is what did that to me. And every time I come back home, my mom be like, no, we got to reprogram you. Because she knew exactly what I was going to be on, had she let me just be. So, she was just being a good mother. I love my mom. So, what I'm working on is tapping back into the fire without feeling like I gotta be that top gangster, that top thug, that top dog in the streets and whatnot. Because you can very easily tap into that type of energy and thinking that you can just start running shit in a very toxic, masculine way. And that's not what we're here to do. That's not what I'm here to embody. I'm here to change that whole thing. You said authenticity will always set you free from validation. Thank you. That is so true. And I'm not fake. I don't front. I tell the truth. I'm always... My intention is always to speak from the heart. So as long as I know that and I just keep doing my thing, I'm going to get better at it. I'm going to just be flowing. I can flow. You should see me when I just be me and the homies. I'll be teaching like I've been teaching for 20 years. So I'm just trying to get into that. Get so comfortable with myself to the point where I can be this way with anybody and not feel like I got to hold something back. Or hold back, because there was a lot of situations where I would be my full authentic self and other people would, it's like they felt small. You know, you outshine people because you're just being yourself. And then because other people, they don't know themselves as well. So then they feeling some type of way because they see you shining. Now they got to dim your light. So it was a lot of light dimming too. Pisces moon, I feel things very deeply, all that. So I was trying to tap back and I am tapping back into my fire. So I don't know if you notice, I speak the light language, and when I do my post, every time somebody comments, I don't get nothing. Other people could put any other emoji in there. I get fire, 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 fire. Okay, there's something with me in flame. There's something with me in flames. To be initiated by the ancestors and be called Baba Lava. Okay, there's something there with me in fire. I don't care how many Scorpio signs is in these planets or how many planets is in this Scorpio. And my Pisces moon, I still got that fire. Now I need to take that fire and tame it. Because that where I tested and seen what happened when it was untamed. I quit smoking weed that whole November and I was ready to fight the whole world. It was crazy. It was like everybody could feel the heat coming off me. Like I would get looks at the gym. Like people, cause just being me, my vibration. But when I wasn't smoking, I was getting concerned looks like, you good? Like I'm stay away from dog over there. He don't, cause I'm just so turned up. And then being in the gym, I'm really turning up. But I'm also blowing the steam, so I was right to be up in there, and I was going hard. But I could see that I had a lot of unattended anger that needed to be tended to. There was a lot of anger in me that was suppressed. It was a lot of emotions that was suppressed. I'm finding out it's some bipolarism in me going on there. So I had to really get in touch with that and get to know that. Like, damn, I'm really something. I'm really something. So, hey, Flourish. Welcome. So, lost my train of thought. Somebody come in and I lose it. What was it? Could somebody help me? What was I just talking about? Who ain't here? Get some water. Maybe that'll help. Affluent Ascension King. Likewise Queen. I was talking about getting the fire back. Unattended anger, gym. Right. Thank you. In that gym, realized how much anger was going on, how much anger I had in me when I quit smoking weed. And I actually started smoking weed. I was gonna stay off of it until I achieved a certain amount of goals. But when I seen how that was going and how that was playing out, and I seen how mean I was being to my mom, I stopped. I was like, okay, I gotta chill, cause I'm trying to move out. I'm trying to get my own spot and everything, and it was a lot that was on my mind, and it's not like, let's just say I had to get my mind back in order, and we helped do that. It helped calm me down. It helped me tame that fire. So back to what I was originally talking about, how I am trying to tap back into my fire but maintain it so where I'm not burning out or accidentally burning others, burning people that I care about, because that's not what I want to do. And people who have a lot of fire have a tendency to burn others on accident, burn bridges on accident. I burned a lot of bridges. Some of them bridges was meant to be burned. But other than that, actually, I don't even look at it like that. Them bridges was supposed to be burnt. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been. So I talked to my dad about my family, and he was just telling me all about the Ballards, and all his experiences, and how much he loved his dad, my grandfather. And it just filled me up with so much joy and energy to hear about my people, to hear about the other side of my family. Like, my name is, I'm on here, and my divine name is Emperor Eferu, but my given name, the name that my mother gave me, is Raven Patillo Dews. Patillo Dews. 2 last names, a hyphen in the middle. But my father and I are actually Ballards. That's funny. my father and I are actually Ballards. It's a long story. I'm trying not to get sidetracked again. So he was just telling me all about the Ballards and my people. And a session, I'm gonna call it a session that I had with Ali, that time when we went live and we talked about how my auntie that passed away came through while we were on the phone. This shit just happens. She came through on the phone, and she told me who she was, and then my grandfather was there. And a couple of other of my ancestors on the Ballard side was there, telling me about how much they love me, about how much they're proud of me, how much they got my back, and who I am, who I truly am, and to embrace who I am. You know, maybe there was a part of me that felt like I shouldn't be that way, but no, because you can still be yourself. You can still be wild. You still have that fire. Just don't hurt nobody unless they hurt you. That's where the shadow comes in. That's why we gotta keep the shadow. That's where the wolf comes in. We gotta keep the beast in us, with us, so we can defend ourselves, because that's how they come out anyway. But they be coming out unhinged. They be coming out randomly and at bad times. Like your first job, when you taking an order and somebody is going in on your ass, and instead of holding your composure so you can keep your job, they're jumping out ready to beat this person's ass because they said something or they did something that made you feel, to make you feel the way that you felt at a time where you didn't feel protected. Thank you, the protector. That is your shadow is the protector. You know? So, yeah. So they wanted me to, they was just encouraging me to tap back into my wild side, tap back into the fire, you know, but just keep it tamed. And I was talking about that with my dad, because there was a lot of experiences that I had where I felt like I would handle it the way my mother taught me, right? But then, you know, I knew some things about my grandfather and my father to the point where it's like, damn, would they be proud of me if they knew I handled it this way? If I'd handled it peacefully, instead of just going off or just beating their ass or just, you know, what have you. How would they feel about that? And the truth is that that's nothing to be concerned about. I feel that we gotta maintain the duality and only use that shadow when we release, not because we allowed an external projection trigger us. Okay, let me read that again, because I read that a little. let me see. I feel, and it's Flourish who said, who posted this. I feel that we gotta maintain the duality and only use that shadow when we release, not because we allowed an external projection to trigger us. Exactly. Exactly. It should only be used to be a protection system, defense mechanism. Because it being used any other way, you're operating outside of your authentic self. Or not authentic self, I want to say your higher self. You're in your lower nature, that beast nature. That's why I love the fact that I study the Kabbalah, or I study just studying, period, so I can look at things a certain way. Like the Sagittarius is the Minotaur. He has the beast side at the lower side, and then the human on the top side. Beast nature, higher self, higher nature, man. I was gonna say lower self and higher self. So the point is to tap into both ego and higher self. Divine mind. Thoughts not coming in the way I want them to, but whatever. Y'all get what I'm trying to say. Tame the ego, because a lot of spiritual folk come on here talking about you got to get rid of the ego. Well, you know what? A lot of information is being changed though. A lot of people are starting to get what's really real when it comes to this spiritual work. So let me stop saying that and just do my work and just talk about what I talk about, which is the shadow work, which is the shadow side. How necessary is the shadow side? You know, which is sometimes referred to as the primal side, the primal version of us. Okay, yeah, we can be nice, delicate, and pleasant all the time, and but what about when it comes to, and this is on my mind, when it comes to making love, or is it always pleasant and soft, or does it get to a point where, or do you sometimes like it where it's fiery, passionate, and maybe it get to the point where it could get rough? You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's balance. It's all about balance. I'm wearing a perfect shirt for this conversation because we got the light and the dark. I'm all about the light and the dark. Light, dark. I'm all about that and balancing it. I'm about coming out of the darkness to the light, but then not being afraid to be in the dark, and then still being able to find my way out. So that was really the inspiration of my song. The original song was by Travis Scott, and I remixed it because I just liked the vibe of it. It had a dark feel to it. So what I did was I took it and I transmuted the energy. I took it and I transmuted the energy to light, because my light language is light language. So I got on this dark song and I transmuted the energy to light, but at the same time still reveling in my own dark energy, appreciating that dark energy, but at the same time not, speaking righteous words. I did mention about, I did have a couple of interesting metaphors in there, but hey, you gotta have fun doing this shit. You gotta have fun doing this shit, and acting like Jesus all the time, being a goody two shoes, it don't always get it. It don't always hit the way it's supposed to hit. You gotta be a little bad sometimes. And that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying in the song. You gotta be a little bad sometimes. You can be good. It's great to be a good person. Be a great person. But I believe in do as thou wilt. Just don't hurt nobody. That I rock. That's what I rock with. That's the picture they want. Exactly. That's the picture they wanted to paint of him. But when we really think about Jesus, we really got to think about, we got to compare him to the likes of a Heru or a Shiva or a, let's see. They removed the chapter Thomas that shed light on his human reality. Ooh, damn, that's good. I want to read that chapter. See, that was always an interesting thing. I thought that was a red flag to me about the Bible, taking chapters out, taking whole chapters out. I'm talking about whole book worthy of chapters. That's some shit right there. When you find out the shit that they've been taking out is actually book worthy, it's just like wow. But what was I talking about? I think that's all I wanted to get on. That's all I wanted to speak on. I was gonna get on here and do some readings, but everybody left except for you. I don't know if you want one or not. You don't have to if you don't want to. It's free. I was just pull like 3 cards. But other than that, I'm finna get off, smoke my weed, wind down. You can pull 1 card. Okay. That's fine. Yeah. Gotta do this more often so people can see, people can know. This ain't no game. Plus, I'm just trying to get more comfortable with it, being comfortable on camera. All I do was all right. Did I speak clear and authentically enough? Please guide me to the right answers for flesh and body. Thank you for the confirmation. I appreciate that. Okay, I'll pull 1 card. Wow, that was quick. That was quick as hell. And you got, when you lose train of thought, should have a little red notepad to go back to reference from. Yeah, you right. I used to start off doing that, but what happened was they started not to work. Either they started not to work or I was still overthinking even though I had reference points. But anyway, check this out. You got the King of Cups. The King of Cups. And I don't know if you do tarot or not, but the King of Cups symbolizes a masculine energy or someone in their masculine energy, but emotionally responsible, compassionate. Come on, baby. Come on now. Don't do this to me now. Don't do this to me now. Hold on. This is why I got the book. It said, I asked my friend, he said it's okay to get the book as long as you got the right cards and you're reading them right. So I'm not going to say 2 things and be like, oh, well, that's it. No, we're going to do you right. So in many decks, the king sits on a throne and wears rich garments and a crown. He usually appears as benevolent authority, a father figure who rules kindly and fairly. In a reading, the King of Cups may signify an actual person. When he does, it's general. Okay, I knew that. Everything divine. I am working on balancing my divine masculine energy. And are you a water sign? Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio? Where I figured you did, cause you're an oracle yourself. Yeah, I'm getting. I've been studying a lot more with them, but hold on, back to what I was talking about. So, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. That's you sitting in your energy. This Sagittarius what led you to speak on the centaur earlier. what led me to speak on the centaur earlier? Because I was talking about the beast nature. I was talking about how we're the centaur, and I was applying how we have the man, also they have the beast nature. So it's like the Sagittarius symbolizes the balance between our higher selves and our lower selves. It's like when you think of the unbalanced Sagittarius, we can have a thing for we can be addicted to we tap into addictions a little bit easier. We just tap into that primal nature a lot more than I think other signs. I don't want to say that. I think what I'm mainly just trying to say is that it was the balance between the divine and the human, the lower nature, the lower self, the higher and the lower self. You know, we don't have a problem tapping in with our ego. We don't have a problem with our ego. We can live with our ego. But we also have a keen interest in the higher realms. We love to play, but we also love to learn. You know what I'm saying? It's like we always in that balance. We love to travel, but we love. Like balance with my masculinity and femininity. Ooh. So maybe we just all in alignment all through and through. You're balancing your masculinity and your femininity. So that's why this King of Cups came out. You gotta have a water moon. At all. I just feel like you got water in your chart somewhere. That's kind of playing on the water side, but it don't have to. Sometimes I lean on one significance more than another when it comes to a card, because I'm learning to see more. That could be water too, because it's air is water too. So you just gonna use that too. It worked. It worked. But yes, divine alignment, balancing. That's why I made that song, Balancing. All about balance. I'm all about balance. Everything. Like, I balance fire and water. So, maybe I need to make a light language activation for that. Balance. So I can make pretty much light language activation for anything. Pisces North Node. Oh, okay. All right. That's cool. So you learning to, is that what that means when you say the North Node? Because I'm learning that. I'm still learning that too. The North Node represents what you're aspiring to be, and the South Node is like what you used to be. Like, so for an example, my South Node is a Gemini. In the past life, I was a Gemini. And my North Node is Sagittarius, even though I'm a Sagittarius sun. But I'm aspiring to be an even better Sagittarius. So are you striving to be a greater Pisces? Okay, so you're striving to be a greater Pisces. Where the hell is that card? You're striving to be a greater Pisces, balancing your masculine and your divine feminine. Interesting. Think that's what I'm doing too, because I was told to tap more into my divine feminine. So, but that was a while ago, and I think I'm kind of getting the hang of it. Or I feel like that's what I'm doing when I do these cards, because I'm strengthening my intuition. My intuition been on some other shit lately. So, thank Creator for that. Thank Ancestor for that. Thank myself for that, for doing the work. Because I had to do a lot of healing. There's a lot of healing I had to do. I'm finally at a place where I can just be happy. I used to be codependent and all kinds of shit. Now I'm just cool being by myself. I don't have to be with nobody. I'm not striving to be with nobody. If they show up, they show up. And I'm told this is what happened. This is when the person you're supposed to be with shows up. When you are finally comfortable in your own skin. So that's what they've been saying. Not comfortable in your own skin, but finally loving yourself. Finally okay with just being by yourself and being alone. Not lonely, alone. Said, the cards assured me of my gifts. When I put them down, I can do a reading without them. I'm glad you said that, because you also said, like, it was divine alignment, because I was talking about the balance, and you were talking about the balance in the divine masculine and feminine. It's like, I've been told so many times that I don't need the cards either. So the cards actually make me overthink. So I had to take some time to study the cards, but that's what I wanted to get at. We stand on what you was just saying. It made me think, like, I'm trying to put it in the words. I probably already said it, but I be thinking. I think sometimes we have the idea of how we want to say something, and then we already say it. So, because you said exactly, I'm pretty sure you referring to what I was saying. Just say it. That's what I'm saying. I feel like I already said it. No, I'm over here going all the way off. I hate that. I know you'll understand it. Basically, it's what my teacher told me. I don't need the cards, and you use the cards to reinsure what you're saying or what you're reading. Huh? Is that kind of like what just happened? Maybe that's what I'm trying to say and didn't know it. Is that kind of what just happened? Well, yeah. Because we was talking about balancing. All right, for sure. I'm gonna save this. Even though I was fumbling, who cares? It's a learning experience. I'm gonna land smoothly on another day. I'm gonna land smoothly on another time. Well, thank you for joining me. Yes, you said everything I needed to hear before you pulled the card. Bet. That's what's up. That's what I needed to hear. Thank you. That's what's up. I'm glad I could be of service. That means I need to be on here talking. I need to be on here talking more. All right, cool. Well, I'm not going to hold you up anymore because I'm burning up. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody for joining me. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to draw the card so I could confirm some things for you. And I'm finna bounce. So, peace. Have a good night.